All right, so we are out here again. And so we're going to do, first we're going to set up camp. We're going to do a tarp. There's the gun range with the targets. And then I feel like we got a bunch of stuff planned. We'll see. It's hot, very hot. So we'll see how we get done. But I brought some special tools for reloading. So you can reload and have everything very minimal. So we're going to show some of that.
We're gonna make a toilet.
And then we're going to make...
Move the other way.
Where are we at? We're going to make a teepee toilet over here.
A ladies' room.
Yes. So I got a pile of wood over here. We'll be clearing that out and doing a teepee style toilet. So basically what we're doing is taking a bucket and it got this, instead of a lid, it is a lid, but then it's a toilet seat on top. So that'll be our toilet. Put a trash bag liner and some kitty litter for number 2s.
Ew.
And then number 3s.
We don't do number 2s.
And then number 1s and number 3s will just be out in the open.
Number 1s and number 3s.
So
yeah.
So the first thing that we're going to do is hang up our tarp so we have some shade. And I use these sticks, and of course I misplaced one. So I got to make a second one of these, and then I'm going to cut this down just a little bit more. But actually, before we do that, I'm going to talk about some tools real quick. So I always take the thing of have as many knives as you can within reason. So I have a pocket knife, that way anytime any knife is back here, I always have something to cut with. And then this is my kind of just do everything with knife. So if it gets a little messed up, not a huge deal. So a lot of the wood carving and all that stuff, I'm using this for everything. And then I've got a multi-tool. So worst case scenario, if I need to, I can sharpen it on the file here. And then I've also got a knife sharpener. And then I've also got a stone in my bag to sharpen everything. So I'm basically using this in such a way to keep all my knives sharp. And then any big work I need to do, I've got this for. And then I keep some oil. I got different, kinds of oil or grease or anything just to keep this from rusting. And of course I got a little bit of a saw back here. It's not necessarily meant to be a saw, but I've got that. And then any kind of actual sawing I need to do, I really like to just run one of these. This is the SOG, and this thing has definitely been through its paces and it's still cutting. So let's get to it. All right, and now the daunting task. It's not really too bad, but carving this down to a point. And then what we're gonna do is, you'll see, we're gonna hang the tarp up. We're gonna run the tarp onto the point of these and then use some 550 cord with some stakes, stake it into the ground, and then the tension on the cords will pull the entire thing nice and taut like, and then we'll have shade. We got our last piece cut. So time to hang up the tarp. So there we go. You just got to be careful at night not to trip over these. And so these are pulled out to the side to give everything some good tension. And then the parts we carved, just hold it out. And we have canopy. All right, so part 1 is done. What's part 2? Fireplace?
Chandelier.
Chandelier.
Yes, fireplace.
So I think what I'm gonna do is do a smaller spot, just a small circle, just kind of comes out and around right here. And then I'll take 2 sticks with like a Y in it and bury those into the ground. Again, the only problem is there's freaking rock everywhere. So that's gonna be a pain in the butt. But one way or another. So what we're gonna do is it's getting dark and I'm having a little bit of a hard time finding like a Y branch. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna cut this down and I'm gonna make 2 tripods. And I'll use some bank line, basically like 2 miniature teepees. And then I'll run those on both sides of this fire. We'll get the fire going and then we'll make some dinner. So this is what we're looking at. I'm gonna get 3 of these, 6 in total. I'm gonna do 2 tripods. I'm gonna end up using some bank line. So I'm just gonna tie, you can really use any kind of knot. We're gonna wrap it around somewhere between 3 to 5 times. And then what we're gonna do is on the 3rd or 5th wrap, we're gonna go in between and we're gonna wrap those. We're gonna go around and we're gonna wrap it the other way. So we're gonna have a really tight wrap here all the way around. All right, so we got it done. So I basically did a tripod, but the top stick ended up being a little too thick. So I carved down 2 flat spots. So it sits basically right into this Y type of thing here. And then of course, unless I completely fail on camera, it's gonna hold the weight really nice. So now we have our small cooking fire. And then we have our pit for our big brush burning fires. So we are officially in the dark. No more sunlight. So we're going to figure out what we're gonna cook and cook some food. So, water is almost hot. We just got the fire started. So here's the setup. One mistake I think a lot of people make when they're doing a fire is not getting enough wood and then using too large of pieces. So what I'm starting off with is the smallest stuff I can find, which is the pine needles. So we got pine needles everywhere. So I get, basically the way I kind of look at it is when you think you have enough, double it. And then I'm picking up these tiny, tiny little branches like this. And again, once you think you have enough, you're gonna double it. And then we're gonna go up to little pieces like this, up until we get to pieces like this, and then maybe just a little bit larger. What happens is you want to get these small ones. When you have a whole bunch of them, they burn really hot and really fast. So we want to make sure we have basically more than enough. That way these are going to all burn out very quickly, and then there's a lot of room for air in there, so they get real hot. And then once they get real hot, we're going to start feeding in our small pieces, and we're going to just work our way up until eventually we're at our pieces that are about the width of, you know, a finger, a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit larger. And our water is boiling. One of the big mistakes is people just don't get enough, because this stuff burns through very, very quickly. You don't want to get to a point, especially when it's really cold or anything like that, where you did all of this work, you got all this wood and all the pine needles and dry leaves, whatever it is, and then you run out, and then your fire goes out. And then you got to do everything all over again. So make sure that pretty much when I think I've got enough, and I say, okay, that's good, I'm gonna go ahead and just double that. And that's what my method is, and it's worked pretty good so far. Here's our 2 fire pits, and it worked out really well. So we're going to, I think we're gonna have pancakes this morning. And so we're gonna make another fire and make some pancakes. And then we'll start on trying to figure out how we wanna do, how and where we wanna do a bathroom. I'm thinking about just doing a TP, but I don't know yet. We're gonna think about some different ideas, and then that's what we'll be doing today. Got going on. You wanna show them?
Yeah. I'm making a pico.
So what we're doing is taking 2 sticks. We're gonna sharpen the ends, drill those into the ground right up next to the tree. And let me show you what the result will be. And so what this does is it gives us a little gap. And then we're gonna cut all of the trees here to length. So we'll have a stick here, and then at the top we're gonna end up tying them to the trees. Now normally I'll start out with a real loose knot, just enough to keep everything up. And then, so we got like a little triangle. So I think I'm gonna do one on the front side, and then on the back side here, this area right in here, that's gonna be where you go in and out of the toilet. Now it does face out that way, but that way, everything from this direction, you'll have privacy up to your head. It's not completely finished, but I did trim this side. Now I just got to trim this side over here. And then I'm going to do one more wall right here on the front, where this stick is basically. And then this will be the doorway right here. And then here's our potty bucket. So these are pretty decent. I've actually never used one, but you can get basically just a trash bag, toss it in here, put some kitty litter in it, And then obviously for number 2s, this makes everything a little bit more comfortable. And then for the females, number 1s as well. And for dudes, we can just go anywhere. Not too terrible. That way you get a little bit of privacy. So wall 1, wall 2 will be right here. And then a little bit of privacy. So I think that'll work. Something that's very important, and I really try to do this every single time. I just take some gun cleaning patches, and I think this, I'm not sure what oil this is at the moment, but I just completely soak them down, throwing them in a tub like this, close them up, and then you've always got patches. So every time I use my knife, I'll clean it off, wipe it off on my pants, and then I'll run these patches over them just to keep it nice and oiled. So a very important thing to do. I recommend, like, I'm gonna just leave this up here. I usually have one in my bag and my cleaning kit, and they're just always ready to go. We'll call it shit hits the fan reloading kit here. So I'm gonna reload a little 300 blackout. So we got our Lee dies and our Lee hand press. So first thing we need to do, we got our decapping and sizing die in there. Get a little bit of lube on here. And then I'm using just Unique by Hornady. It's good stuff. So this is perfect for that. So next we're gonna go ahead and put our primer in. Now it's primed. And Lee is courteous enough to give you these, so it takes about 1.5. So I go ahead and just throw a whole one in there. And then I'll just kind of tap this and trickle the powder in. So we're doing 9.1 grains of H110. And we're going to be doing a 208 grain boat tail hollow point. So that should put me right at roughly between 1070 and 1090 with dispersion and all the other stuff. Temperature. Now I still want to try to get these as concentric as I can. So I'm going to run it up and just touch it. And then spin it once, and then I like to seat it to where it just seats over the boat tail. Turn it again, and then I'm going to go ahead and run it all the way up. And then there we go. And that is bullet number 1. And so I do like to run subsonic. So these are going to be subs. And there we have it. Pretty easy.
If you get here or somebody else, I will not be fine on my own.
Okay, what's going on? Is there somebody there? Is there...
We're good on 300 blackout. Also have 9mm. But these are what I run in my 9s. I do like the 147s because I do like subsonic, but I can run these subs. These are my cast bullets, 124 grain, again, Lee. And I've got an entire bucket full of them. So it is pouring rain. It's like 3 in the morning right now. That works better. trying to get the light right. And this is what it sounds like. So, no sleep for us.
Nope.
It's pretty loud.
We needed rain though.
Anyway. That's all. Today we made spaghetti with 3 cheese sauce, angel hair, and vegan meat patty
4 vegan meat patties.
that we chopped up. And it's time for dinner. Of course, in the, what is this thing called again?
Cast iron pot.
Cast iron pot. Yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
So, time for dinner.